Hi. Good morning.
Morning. Morning.
How are you
Any
doing?
miracles yet?
Have we ascended yet? Okay. We're on lesson 318, so he says not quite yet, almost.
You mean we're
This
not
one,
there yet?
well, yeah, sorry. Yeah. I was just feeling like, we need to finish the lessons before we, take off, but you're right. What we are in truth doesn't need improvement. Thanks, sis.
Thank you.
All right. In me, salvation's means and end are one.
What does that mean?
Yeah, good question. Okay, so in ourself, holy self, salvation's means, how it's going to be accomplished, the way, the how, and end, what
The
this is
outcome?
all about, right? The
Ah,
Christ, our holiness, our innocence, salvation, its means and its end are one. So salvation is going to be accomplished in us. How's that for a
and
little pressure?
yeah, I was going to say, so it's not done for us
Well, it's going to be done through us and for us.
and in
Yes.
us.
Mm-hmm.
Through,
Yeah.
for, and in.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So, hope that was a great lesson. All right. Here we go.
End
Got
of
it?
lesson.
Good.
Lesson. Oh, Lord.
In me, God's holy Son. Can we, let's pause. Can we pause?
Can we pause?
Let's pause.
Where do I press pause? Okay.
Thank you. In me, God's holy Son, are reconciled all parts of heaven's plan to save the world.
Just stop, sis. Sorry.
Hmm?
Whew, boy, that
Yeah.
that was like a holographic download. I wasn't expecting that. Wow. Do you mind to read that again, please?
No, not at all. In me, God's holy Son, are reconciled all parts of heaven's plan to save the world.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
What could conflict? What could conflict when all the parts have but one purpose and one aim? How could there be a single part that stands aside, or one of more or less importance than the rest? I am the means by which God's Son is saved, because salvation's purpose is to find the sinlessness that God has placed in me. I was created as the thing I seek. I am the goal the world is searching for. I am God's Son, His one eternal love. I am salvation's means and end as well. It's talking about the Christ,
Mm.
the one shared identity.
Mhm.
Let me today, my Father, take the role you offer me in your request that I accept atonement for myself. For thus does what is thereby reconciled in me become as surely reconciled to you. He's really talking about a two-part reconciliation process, about where we come into, through total forgiveness of what we have never been but believed we were, into the deep acceptance of our true identity as the Christ. Then Father and Son, Father and the God and Christ are reconciled as one in being. This is why we are salvation's means and end, because the ultimate realization is God and his creation as one.
So in the first paragraph, line number 2, what could conflict when all the parts of heaven's plan, right, have but one purpose and one aim? How could there be a single part that stands alone, or one of more or less importance than the rest? You know, he's including the sonship here, right? This is the Christ, sis. Is this what you're...
There goes, out the window goes false humility.
Right.
Every single part, you know, is playing its role. When the Christ seemed to be obliterated into billions of separate private minds and bodies, right? We're still one. And within each one of us is a spark. And it's through our completion of accepting the atonement for ourself that the Christ is recognized. That's finding yourself in every brother. Looking for that spark, his innocence, and then recognizing it in yourself, and recognizing we aren't these bodies. We are not the personality. Wow, we are that light that is within each seeming body and mind that we encounter. But that's us. And how can there be, you know, a hierarchy if every brother right now has his part to play in this awakening? It's all the same. It's all holy. Each one of us stands and says, I am the Christ in me. I am the means by which God's Son is saved. So when we're identifying with a mythical me, or when we're allowing judgments or goals apart, a will apart from God, or sickness or a past or anything in the gap, right? When we go to sleep and play in the gap, we're actually denying the entire sonship, you know, the means of awakening to itself. If you are the means for salvation, right, we have to be present and available for the Holy Spirit to use us. But while we're sleeping, because we think we want something else, we're not available. So again, this is not for judgment. It's either the light's on or the light's off. Are we part of the awakening? Are we part of salvation's plan? Or are we declaring, you know, no to our holiness?
Right. So, you know, our greatest block or attack against God's plan for salvation would be holding grievances, judgments, resentments. Yeah.
Yeah, because they serve the belief that we're bodies. Only bodies have resentments, and resentments based on a past, right? On this timeline that we were talking about last couple days ago. Yeah.
So we could probably bring in lesson 72 as a review here, because lesson 72, holding grievances, is an attack on God's plan for salvation. That's it, right? So why, like you just said there, sis, because there's a body identity involved. So we have a separate will. We want to be a body, and we want to use our brothers and sisters as bodies as well in all of that, which of course is that the body is the center of all grievances, seeing our brothers and sisters as a body. Yeah. Did you want to talk about like how we do, like the number one way that we do this, and it's through the special relationship?
Yeah.
Shadow figures, right? Did you want to bring that in, sis? You saw something this morning.
Yeah, no, I did. I saw something this morning, but it's really amazing because once I see it, it shoots out into this holographic thing again. I'm having that experience where I'm seeing it all and going, okay, let's deliver the singular message for the family. But okay, so let's come back and recognize Holy Spirit needs our willingness, right? That was yesterday's message about I'm choosing. It's a voluntary thing. My will apart from God, nothing's going on. So yes, Holy Spirit, here I am. And Holy Spirit needs us to be present and open in a forgiveness, when we do our forgiveness and we relinquish our judgments and we say yes to God's will so that we can be part of salvation's plan. That's today's lesson. So what are some of the ways that ego makes sure that we're not forgiving and that we're always unavailable, right, to salvation? That's the ego's job, to make sure that we don't wake up. And so the means that it does that is this body identity. And like Nouk just said from that previous lesson, the grievances that this body and personality holds, right? Because if we are love, the body is an idea that we came up with to leave the identity as love. Love's opposite is fear in all its myriad forms. Grievances are just another way that fear is played out in the mind so that we don't know ourselves and we're not available to Holy Spirit. So let's now bring in this concept of time, because remember the other day we were talking about somewhere in the past, somebody gave us the message that we were not lovable or that we were flawed or we were abused, whatever the trauma was. There was an original trauma, and from that trauma, you accepted some beliefs about yourself as mythical me. Mythical me has some very deeply entrenched, held beliefs about itself, right? And you were deprived of the love that you wanted from that one. So we grow up, and what we don't realize is that our special relationships, the child has that primary special relationship with mom and dad, but then as they get older, they call in new bodies into their experience so that they can rehearse and replay that original trauma wound. Okay, so it could be someone in high school, in college, your job, your spouse, whomever. They're really coming forward in your experience. And Jesus calls these shadow figures. And the reason he calls them shadow figures is because what each of us are doing is we're looking at somebody and they're either acceptable to us or not, depending on their suitability or matchup with our original trauma. So it's not puppy love. It's, can you play the role that's going to help me live out my original trauma with my dad or my mom or my sibling or whatever? Because if you can, I'm going to love you. I'm going to feel all these connections, right? And the ego calls that love. But what it's really doing, it sees its perfect match to play out the original wound. And so Jesus says that what we do is end up we choose these relationships for that purpose, and we omit the one that they are totally.
So we can't see them.
We can't see them. We don't know them. We're not in relationship with them. These shadow figures are a pulling out of 1 degree of who we think we're in relationship with to reanimate attack from vengeance in the past. We're taking vengeance on the past in a current relationship. Hope that makes sense. So
to perpetuate the future, right? The past to perpetuate the past into the future, so we can remain victims.
So I'll give you an example. You all knew about my I know mind and the doer, right? Dad wouldn't give me the time of day or any attention unless I was doing something right and doing it really right, like, and so I would find, and then I would just hash that with male figures in my life as we go along. And so I'm looking at my partners as, you're going to withhold, and I'm going to try really, really hard to be the best that I can be, and you are going to withhold so that I can still try and seek vengeance against my dad in the past. Here in the present, I'm recreating that dynamic. Now, do I know my partner? No. Am I accepting all of them? No. I'm taking 1% and trying to use them. And that's why the special relationship isn't love at all. It's attack. And so in this section on shadow figures, sis, I know it's
chapter
page
17, section 3, and the title of it is Shadows of the Past. Okay. That's in the FIP edition of A Course in Miracles.
Yeah. And in COA, it's page 553, also chapter 17, called Shadow Figures. And so he's really talking about the importance of recognizing that while you think you're in a relationship, it's not. And you're just superimposing this whole past on the person to the extent that there's no relating. But he said, you don't, and he calls them unholy relationships because they're anti-relationships. And he says there's a spark there, though, in your brother. And he said, if you will repurpose and let me have that relationship, I'm going to show you the part of your brother that's the truth about him, so that you see it in yourself. So you're letting that past vengeance actually be healed. You're letting the relationship be the means for that healing. But we need to see this. And so what does that have to do with anything? Okay, so in me, salvation's means and end are one. Well, the way that the ego prevents that from happening is creating that clog, right, of a past, an original wound that's constantly resurfacing, keeping the timeline drawn out so that my future looks just like my yesterday's, in this belief of a timeline. And I'm never available in the holy instant to receive the correction. And without that correction, I'm not available for the Holy Spirit to be part of salvation's plan. And the ego goes, oh, goody, goody. Right?
Yeah. Really well explained.
I don't know, but it's
good.
It's a lot.
If you could have told me that 30 years ago, it would have probably shaved off at least 15 years off my journey.
I think most of us recognize by now, why do I keep attracting the same kind of stuff in my partnership? We're like, it's not about the person that we're choosing. It's always going to end up being about, I'm choosing this person to reenact the ego's primary beliefs around the trauma it experienced early on. I'm not lovable. I'm shameful. I'm worthless. I'm whatever. It's all the same. But yeah, that's what the special relationship is for. Until it's not.
Until it's not. That's right. So we're blocking God's plan for salvation, right?
This is how the ego does it, so that we never are available.
Yeah.
That's what time is for.
That's what time is for. No, time is here, right?
Yeah.
Through the ego.
And I was, we were talking before we hit record today. The other day we talked about, what lesson was it, where we forgive our projection of time?
314, lesson 314.
Yeah. And so, for a while, you guys, here's the gap again. When we're using shadow figures in our life, when our special relationships are just causing the wound to be refreshed, we do that to prop up this gap. Okay, so we forgive our relationships, we forgive what we're using to keep this going, we forgive the independent will apart from God and our judgments. And what Nouk was pointing to in 314 was ultimately, we come to this place when we've done a sufficient forgiveness in this to recognize there's nothing in this that's real. We forgive ourselves for the projection of time in its entirety. So remember, this is the timeline, right? So we ultimately come to, I'm forgiving the idea of time and space altogether, and I'm just here in the present now moment with God as Christ, where there is no time and there is no space, there is no gap, there's no special relationships. So that was when we said that was a deep dive, yes, that's an advanced stage where we just go, okay, I'm forgiving the whole idea of time together, all together.
But this morning you saw in the text, chapter 17 there, that Jesus is saying we have, in order to get to that milestone, or that conclusion, there are steps we need to take. And one of those steps, right,
to go back.
To go back and to look at the past, and to look at it not from a victim point of view, but how we've used certain relationships. Yeah.
Every traumatic experience in the past, or even those things that we say were so good but not real, they're hallmarks, right? It's a hallmark moment in our past that says, I have a real past. I'm a real girl moving along a real timeline, and I know it because I've got this memory and that memory, and this occurred, and this wound and this heartbreak, and I remember when so-and-so died, right? All of these things are to keep an illusory past going. So for a while you do inventory. Where, when my mind goes into the past, where am I drawn to? Those events. Each one of those needs to be forgiven because it actually never occurred in God. It's part of the gap, and the ego made that occurrence so that we could have a sense of ourselves as we never have been, a mortal moving along a timeline. That's what it was there for, to keep the body going, having experiences. And we believe these experiences until we get wise to how this whole thought system of separation works. And we need to unplug ourselves from it. So part of that unplugging is forgiving what's in the gap. And then we come to forgiving the gap altogether.
Yeah. Sounds easy.
Well, that's what he says, that's what time is for, right? We repurpose time and recognize we're not going to get it all overnight, but every day we wake up, we join. This is the best and only use of time to forgive the contents of the gap, forgive what we thought was true, and accept the atonement instead.
Thank you, sis.
Thank you. And it's encouraging that we each have this. I like this footnote here in the COA. It says, since each person is given his or her own special part in God's plan, all parts simply refers to all of those individual parts. I am salvation's means in that I help bring salvation about through my special function. I am salvation's end because the goal of salvation is to find the sinlessness that God has placed in me and in all of us. So there's, I just am encouraged by the special function that each one of us has that we can certainly and easily and joyfully fulfill that serves the entire awakening of the sonship. And how can we really accept that and then have any false humility at all? Oh, not me. Or so-and-so's got it, but I don't. All those ways that the false humility attacks our thought, it's you just out the window with this lesson.
Yeah. And for those of you who would like to know more about what we've been talking about here, about shadow figures, there's a couple of recommended blogs. It actually talks about shadow figures and fleshes it out more in practical terms in a blog, part 2 of a blog called Why the Body Suffers. And there's also another blog, Why the Body Suffers, Special Relationships, part 1. So if you have the time, if your guidance leads you there, then I would say listen to both part 1 and part 2. But if you don't have the time, that's funny, if you don't have the time, then listen to part 2. It's about shadow figures, special relationships there. I think it'll be quite helpful, and you'll find the links directly under the video here in the YouTube.
And we were talking about maybe an exercise, not that we hand out exercises and there's no homework with any of this, but maybe it might be helpful when I mention a lot of us are recognizing there's this pattern. Why do I keep attracting the same thing over and over again? Well, can we just maybe spend a little time with that question? You know, what is the pattern? How is it the same? What is the message that you receive from that behavior? How far back does that message go? Can you remember the first time you heard that message? Could it be that you're selecting your partners in an effort to continue the belief, that special flavor of unworthiness? Can we recognize that? In light of the shadow figure teaching from Jesus, maybe we'll make the connection and be willing to forgive that.
Very good.
Yeah.
Really good. Yeah. And for me, in my experience too, what helped me was doing an exercise to see, you know, what am I, this sounds terrible, but it is the ego, all right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
What do I need this person for? A significant other. What do I need them for? And this includes our children. I had to do this with my daughter.
Mm-hmm.
You know, earlier on, and particularly when she was very ill and nearly died, I had to go and ask, what do I need her for? What do I need from her?
Mm-hmm.
Well, when she nearly died, I went right down to the core, which is I need her to live.
Mm-hmm.
And then I ask why, to prove that I'm a guiltless mother.
Yeah.
Can you see how selfish that is?
Yes.
Right? Okay. Whew. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
so
really
that led me, whoa, that led me really, really deep to see, what do I use my child for? What do I need my child for? What do I need my my partner for? What do I need anybody for?
Mm-hmm.
Because Jesus told me many years ago that just swap out the word need for use, which was shocking to me at the time.
Yeah.
Oh my God, because then I had to write I statements.
Mm-hmm.
I need my partner. I use my partner for fill in the blank.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yes.
Or I use my child for fill in the blank.
Yeah.
And the ego has to answer that.
Mm-hmm.
Luckily, that's not us.
No, it's not. But it's a great way to flesh it up and out, these shadow figures, and identify it, and so that we can forgive it.
Absolutely. Because, we can tell where we're still unforgiving of, like, you can be 65 years old and still be unforgiving of your parents.
Oh, gosh, yeah. Yeah, they don't have to be incarnate for this to be working itself out, for sure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we can do it with our parents.
Mm-hmm.
Just ask what it is that we wanted from them. What are we trying to get from them, even if they may have passed over and they're no longer alive in a body? Because whatever we're wanting, still now presently wanting from our parents when we were young,
Mm-hmm.
if we believe right now that we didn't get what we wanted,
Mm-hmm.
we're going to milk everybody else in our life for it.
Right.
It sounds terrible. And it's going to kill us.
That's yeah. So we have to start with the premise that I lack, I'm not love, I don't have love. I'm this empty shell, and I needed it from mom and dad, and they didn't give it to me, and now they're past, so who's going to give it to me? Mm-hmm. So it's going to be your partner, it's going to be your children, it's going to be whomever, right?
Oh,
You're extracting it from somebody, and that's not a relationship at all. You're still trying to heal the original vengeance that you felt as a child, going, what the heck? What's wrong with me? Why don't you love me? So it's all of this story is to prevent us from being still, coming into our holiness and recognizing I overflow because I am love. I'm not that empty shell. I don't need anything. I am everything. That's what all this practice is bringing us to, the felt state of our innocence, that there's been no separation. We cannot lack because we're one in God.
Mm. Mm-hmm. Thank you. Thanks, sis. Very helpful. And sis, just backing up a little bit, I don't want to leave it out because it just came flying in.
Okay.
Was that some of us we'll we'll use the body, right? So we'll try and get everything we can out of the body. Yeah. Or our achievements. So we'll be driven.
Yes.
To, extract everything we can from the body and from our achievements, etc., through the ego will.
Like lip plumping.
Like what? What did you say?
Lip plumping.
Limp plopping?
Lip.
Oh, lip. Oh,
I was just being naughty and it fell flat because my sis didn't get it.
I'm
anyway.
Sorry, I didn't get it.
That's all right. When you said I'm driven to extract everything, and I said or insert, or what we, the things that we put the body through and do to it to try to get the love or the appreciation or the attention or my goodness. Yes.
Does that mean I can't have a facelift now?
Nope. No facelift.
I'm not a body. I am free.
You go to settings and you go to video.
Oh, that's right. And there's a facelift setting on Zoom. Is that
there?
Right?
Okay.
No, it's just, that'd be worth thousands.
But it's true, right? I mean, this sense of lack and what we do to the body and with the body to try to overcome that. And we look at upon a whole generations that seem to be, insane with this belief. Yeah, trying to overcome their sense of lack. And the only lack is the belief in separation. Union is the answer. Union's what we all desire.
Yeah. Are we part of God's plan for salvation or what?
We are. Yep.
We are the means and the end.
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
God's holy son. Okay, that was a mouthful, but we wanted to stretch it as far as we could in every direction, get the whole enchilada. We wouldn't want to cheat you. Okay. So stay open to be the salvation of the world for my sake and Nouk's.
Yes. Thank you. Please save us.
Yes, please. God help me. Love you. We'll see you next time.